And so it was war. Nuclear war. This dude can package anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism like nobody else. He's doing terrorism for free! Brogan, you look good today, girl. Great job on that Arab tier list.
I can't believe another person basically compiled Reddit posts from Epstein's subreddit into a shittily edited 2-hour video.
Fuck this dude.
Hi, we coming up. Destroyer of words. Ladies and gentlemen, we just got one of the fattest, juiciest videos to drop on this platform, perhaps on the equivalent of Soggy Silver's video against Dogpack, where it has been the answer to the long-running controversy between even Klein and Hasan Piker, Palestine and Israel, Muslim and Zionist. The answer I'm referring to is H3's long-awaited content nuke on Hasan, a video many have been waiting for, including myself, and it has finally come out a few hours ago, and I've watched all of it. My short review, for any of you that are impatient or are huge Hasan fans that want you to dislike the video, go ahead. But yeah, I thought it was really good. To the point I would consider the go-to video that I recommend to any people that want to learn about the huge issues with Hasan. For an actual review, which will take more time, the entire duration of this video, I actually just want to lay back and talk about the main parts that I found to be the funniest and important that might actually become big standing points that Hasan will have to answer for. So like I said, I won't be going over the whole video because I'm not like a stream archive channel and that would take way too long. I mean, the video itself is 1 hour and 43 minutes. Holy shit. If I was doing it on a live stream, 100% I would do it. But in this video, like I said, funniest points and most important ones, and funniest will be easiest for me. Important ones will be mainly, like the vile stuff that I even brought up against Hasan, where I was like, oh my god, he did that? Of course, like right off the bat, he brought the main ones, the video of him, like him reacting to propaganda, or like video of the pilots going on a ship and, taking control of it, kidnapping all the people, the Twitter videos reacting to like the Hamas terrorists, making the sniper rifles in their own country, all that insane shit. Now, I didn't really know about the last one, but when I saw it, I was like, holy fuck, how powerful, I mean, I know how powerful he's got on Twitch, but how big is he, with his influence, they can watch that on stream, with no restriction at all. And I'll get into that in a second. But I think the strongest part of this video was the structuring, where it opens softly with some exposition of, Eve and Hasan, how they were buddy, but then the first red flags started popping up and it looked pretty worrying. Fast forward, and then October 7th, bad shit, and then Hasan, full power, support Palestine, or worse so, I mean, that's not the bad part, but the supporting of Hamas and terrorists, all that shit, Houthi pirates, that's when it became a real issue, right then and there. And this structuring works, because when you open, like the most popular stuff, it makes it very easy to get into, and around the end, there are actual points where I became like, oh my, this is hard to watch. It's so miserable. For a bit of context, the parts of Israeli victims during that time that nobody brings up, but once you see it, you're like, yeah, it's really hard, to be talking about Israelis as, discussing Zionists when you see the stuff where they also had their own victims that had experienced horrible things. But yeah, I'll get into that in just a second. The funniest part, one part I really liked, was how it's actually so funny. We all know how Hasan, to make himself seem like the guy that deserves no criticisms. He's the guy that talks about, the genocide going on, the genocide, and he could even compile all the clips of him bring that up non-stop and, put like a soundbite of him whispering it in the mic. It's pretty funny, and that really was a good point, because anybody that cared about this conflict, they were going to bring it up, because if it did, they would look really bad, bring it up against Hasan, the biggest streamer talking about this. Because if you check articles, like any news media, they will refer to Hasan being the biggest journalist covering this. Kai Sana, he doesn't cover it, piece of shit, what a pussy, he's a Zionist, all that stuff. So Hasan, good boy, and if you dare criticize him, oh, you're fucked. You're a fuck piece of shit that wants the war to keep on going. I feel with any other person that logic will not apply, because it makes no sense. It's incredibly dumb. But with Hasan, because he's been pushing for so long, then it's become like an actual barrier that nobody would dare to attack, because they will look really bad. Oh, and this part as well, where Hasan brings up clips of, I'm gonna be honest, terrorist propaganda, right? He brings that up, and Ethan, God bless him, he brings up his own equivalent of of Israeli, music and a school dancing to it. That was pretty wholesome. Thank God, because like during this whole time, people have been so afraid to recognize like Israeli culture that if they bring it up, they're terrified. Oh my God, you recognize Israeli culture? You recognize that as a country for Jews? You're a Zionist. Like that has become such a huge issue that the word Zionist went from, anybody being a Jew that feels like Israel should be a country to a child murdering, Muslim torturing piece of shit terrorist, a much worse terrorist than Hamas. And of course, on this video, you got people like Frogan and Dan Clancy, all that good stuff. And holy shit, dude, I never knew before, because I realized in this video that Frogan is an actual nobody. Of course, we all know her, but as it turns out, I had no idea before. When you check out her Twitter, the concurrent viewers is normally stuck at like 150. That's it. She has like such a huge platform where everybody knows her with just that, a tiny fan base. So obviously, like everybody knows it. She got so big, from like a coattail riding Hasan. But like, my God, I had no idea that she was that much of a nobody. And also somehow, it's really funny, she somehow got Rising Star Award 2 times. And like, as even points out, don't you only need it once? And then Clancy, also a very bizarre character. I had no idea like the main reason why people were calling him a creepy guy, a pedophile. Nobody said that apart from Ethan, was because of most of the time, whenever he would promote the Twitch app and the For You page mechanism, whenever he showed on his phone, it was just women, with the fat tits out every single time. Like he cared about nothing else, doing his spare time, using his own app. That was pretty funny, I have to admit. So yeah, overall, that's why I consider this video should be like the best one, to recommend to people. Because before I watched the video that Willie Mack did, it was pretty good, but I believe, that one was shorter. It was still quite long at 40 minutes, but this one, it covers not only Hasan, but like the barrier around him that allows him to get to this point where you have the backing of Dan Clancy, the fucking king of the platform, and Frogan. Basically, like the hijabi placement, the hijabi token character to make him look really good. And of course, the biggest thing is fucking huge fan base that he sees him as a martyr speaking out for Palestine, the only guy that speaks out for Palestine. And of course, I think like that really like his most dangerous weapon at this point. The people that will believe anything he says in support of Palestine and this whole conflict to end. I mean, the whole stuff with even being a Zionist started from this, where it was a sign bring up like bullshit points that he supports Israel and never speaking good about him. Like, if he said anything controversial, like a tiny bit, like if he, recognized Israel as a country, then he'd be like, sounds pretty bad. And then his fan base, Hasan's fan base, took that a long way, to describe him as a Zionist. And honestly, I would say that the whole twisting of the word Zionist came from him and his fan base, honestly. Because before, like I said, it described anyone that recognized Israel as a country to now it's a war criminal that wants to kill every single Palestinian. When in reality, it's not that at all. So yeah, I would say like that's the funniest part that I really enjoyed. However, the impact of this video really comes from the most vile part that actually made me be like, oh God. The first thing that I wrote down on my docket was around 6 minutes in, where, oh my God, yeah, it was a video. I have no idea how the fuck was he able to stream this. Hasan reacted to a video where like victims or hostages of Hamas were being let go, and the way it's funny as well because you can't really watch it, but it even gives a pretty good description as it's playing, where it's like family members being put into a van, and the guy recording like he has like a body cam on, he's on like an AK, tells them go away with the camera, and they do, and some people even called him out, like saying like, oh, dude, they look traumatized, and he's like, no, they look very happy.
They look traumatized as fuck. Wait, what? Bro, they look like they're chilling.
So sorry to say goodbye to her captors. She's gonna miss their hospitality, like being raped and being watched showering and changing.
Dude, that part made me be like, oh my God, this is so fucked. He's so delusional. I haven't seen it, this video that was censored, but I don't care to, because of course, any family member, any hostage that's being let go, they wouldn't be happy. They would be happy, but they wouldn't be acting like they're saying goodbye to the friend, the terrorist, because they're not friends. They were being kept captive by them for a long ass time. And also again, you have to consider that of course, if you're being let go by a terrorist and he has a gun on he's holding up a gun, then of course you will listen to whatever he says, even if he's just waving. And if you're so scared to do anything against them, that you would smile, yeah. And I think at this point, even put it in a really good way, why Hasan is the worst person to be at the forefront of this conflict, of like this cultural coverage of this conflict. Because not only, he makes moronic points, but like by him being so diehard for Palestine and not seeing any victims from Israel, he makes the conversation for like a resolution impossible. Because if there's one side that is the monster, Israel, IG, then there's no way to be resolved, and Palestine deserves to be paid back. Even in reality, it's much more complex. Like both sides have lost a lot. Victims have come, from both Palestine and Israel. You can debate, whatever side lost the most. However, it's really not that simple because both of them have committed atrocities.
So vile to deny the suffering and trauma of the victims just because you need your heroes at Hamas to be perfect. This conflict will never end until people realize that Palestinian liberation and Israeli security are not mutually exclusive. You need both, and it can be done, but not while people like Hasan lie, propagandize, and incite hate. It's people like him, ironically, that prolong the conflict indefinitely.
It's funny as well, because any grown person will have like the mental capacity to have some nuance. Like they would recognize the gray area. But with him, he's a grown-ass man, and he's one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, but somehow this whole conflict that spanned for over nearly a century, actually, more like 75 years, he sees this as more black and white, like, both sides, one's right and one's wrong, horribly wrong, when in reality, like I said before, it's way more nuanced. Like, the resolution for this isn't that simple. Like, you have to sit down and, consider both things. Like, I don't claim to know the solution myself. I don't. I'm a club shit or commentary channel. But yeah, the way that Hasan's doing it, I know full well, is the worst way to tackle it. The next part, I think, was the most shocking one, was the phone calls I even brought up from Israel around October 7th, with family members calling for help on the phones. If you have a weak stomach, that part's not made for you. Like, my God, it was hard to sit through. And I bring it up because it looks awful as well, but it's one of those things where people that die hard for Hasan or on that political spectrum, they will ignore that kind of stuff because, like I said before, it makes the whole thing more nuanced. Like, there's no way that, people from Israel were also victimized. Like, they suffered nothing. It was actually Palestinians that suffered the worst. Even though when you watch that part and hear it, my God, it's really fucked. And it's one of those things as well where Hasan would never confront it because it's way too difficult. It would actually make him, question, what victims have come from Israel. And that question is just too difficult for him to answer. He can't explain it. It will make him look bad. Because also, this is the guy that laughs at mentions of sexual crimes and rape by Hamas on October 7th. So of course, something like this, of this magnitude, would be way too difficult for him to confront. Okay, but now we come to my overall opinion. And I think when it comes to the question of why Hasan shouldn't be allowed a loud megaphone, to the point that he's so big on Twitch, I will share this video as an answer. Because it brings up like the worst parts against him. Like, even the most diehard fans of Hasan couldn't deny it, unless they bring up bullshit reasons, which most of the time, they do that. And I know it's long, at an hour and 43 minutes, holy shit, but unfortunately, this whole thing is very complex, because it's not like one simple oopsie he did on Discord, where, ooh, my bad. No, it's a whole career, or his entire career over the past year, where he has done the most insane shit possible. Like peddling propaganda, all that stuff, and he's had no leash at all from Twitch or Dan Clancy, not even a bit, and also being applauded for it. So I sincerely hope that this video has the same power of like a content cop. But of course, it's inspired by it. But a video so big that raises so many questions that the person it's about has to answer those questions. And honestly, there is so much stuff here in his entire content, Nuke, that any person that's not a fan or, doesn't know about him will watch all of it, and make their own decision to, more than likely, stay the fuck away from him. And the last thing I will share from Ethan himself, as this video came out, was this really funny story put on his Instagram, saying his response is 100% predicted. Number 1, say it's bad, say everyone thinks it's bad. Number 2, call me dumb, very hurtful from my former friend. Number 3, wait for your friends to clip tiny moments from the video to avoid interacting with any major criticisms. That's so true. Number 4, and this is the most important thing, never watch the video. too risky. Can't believe he called me dumb though. Yeah, I think like that would more likely be the case, because the biggest flaw that Hasan would see with it is that it's too long. I can't possibly watch the entire thing on a stream, even though again, like I said, his whole like catalog of fuck ups is so expansive. Then yeah, it cannot be compressed to a tiny video. Like, you know, it has to be this long. I mean, me personally, I don't see it as a flaw, because like I enjoy this whole thing. My God, was it good? I mean, hopefully he will watch it, because then he would have to take some accountability, and that would be if you could do that, thank you God, that'd be great. But again, like, you know, with a video like this big and made from a character as hateful as even Klein, then yeah, I don't really know the likelihood of him actually putting it on or just simply responding to it via like a simple tweet. So I think that's a wrap of this overall commentary about the video itself. Once again, if you know anything about the history of this video, then you'll know how much of a pain in the ass it was to make this. I don't know exactly when he started making it, but I'm pretty sure it was around before the hiatus he took off stream, where he obviously, you know, spent the most time working on it, and even after a long enough break, he just had a couple of more things to work on, and that's it. Regardless of all of that, it's now out. Thank God. The only thing I'll be looking forward, like I said, is Hasan mentioning his video. I want to say that, you know, he might react to it on stream because of the magnitude, because it will get big at some point, but then at the same time, he is really engaged with this sort of stuff, so at this current point, it's still up in the air. If you're a Hasan fan and you stuck around till this point, I actually want to say thank you, because most of the time with videos like this, it gets the most amount of dislikes compared to anything else. So I can't really stop that, but I appreciate you sticking around. Anyways, I wish all of you a good night, and I will see you next time in the development of this riveting conversation that will surely get resolved at some point.